How's it going, people? Jack here with another video. See, in the aftermath of my reaction to Ishi's video on the 1000 Minecraft players rich versus poor, I've gotten a hell of a lot of recommendation to check out some more civilization type videos. It's a whole genre. I've gotten a lot from Minecraft, some from like Project Zomboid, and even some from Rust. Do people still play Rust? But today though, I decided to come back to Minecraft and check out yet another video from Edge on 1000 players building a massive civilization in Minecraft. I suppose that this is going to be kind of similar to the previous one, but perhaps with different biome, but we'll see. As always, do make sure to go and subscribe to the main man himself, and without further ado, let us get into this one.
In the biggest social experiment ever done in Minecraft, I scattered 1,000 people across 4 massive islands to simulate a realistic civilization.
Well, that answered one of my speculations pretty quickly. There are more biomes already.
Players were given no help or guidance, and just like in real life, if you die, you remain dead forever. No! Now, each player has the freedom to do whatever they want. Gather resources, join a society, become a dictator, or if it comes down to it, go to war. With so many people on each island, anything can happen. But I can promise you one thing. This event ended up having the most entertaining story arc I've ever seen.
It already looks like it. The video might not be as long as the previous one, but I definitely see this being a banger.
You do not want to miss this. So pick a nation to root for and enjoy the video. I present to you the 1,000 player civilization experiment. Don't forget, if you want to participate in these videos, join my Discord server, and of course, subscribe to my channel. All right, everyone ready to be teleported? Jump if you're ready. Okay, here we go.
One. Be fascinating to see how quick they drop.
On day 1, all 1,000 players were teleported to their islands, each its own biome. We had plains, desert, snow, and jungle.
I already see some massive problems here, because it basically means that out of the 4, 3 of them are kind of facing a disadvantage, beside jungle, because massive trees, obviously, you have easy access to wood, but wonder who or what is hidden in that jungle. So everybody but plains, which is just like the usual starting level for Minecraft play, is perfectly balanced. Everything outside of plains might be struggling a bit.
This is huge.
Most players spent the first day scouting their island, searching for a place to settle, but almost immediately we started to see people dying, and oddly they were all coming from the snow island. It turned out people were freezing to death after getting stuck in powdered snow, which looks exactly like regular snow but sucks you in like quicksand. This guy trying to free his friends. Oh no. Oh no. Even worse for the poor people on the snow island, trees were almost nowhere to be seen. The desert island also had very few trees, which players needed if they wanted to get wood. But the places where players did find trees quickly became extremely valuable hotspots for groups to settle at and colonize. Look at all these people coming together. Community crafting. They're making progress. Meanwhile, the people on the jungle island had essentially unlimited trees and were thus already thinking about other things. What did you say your plan was?
I'm gonna take over the world. This is my right-hand man.
Is that supposed to be sheep and a... Why? Why are you doing that?
Darbo. Hello, right-hand man Darbo.
Don't talk to him. He doesn't speak.
While having a lot of trees did seem like an advantage at first, many jungle people found the island to be difficult to traverse, given the immense amount of trees and the hostile mobs that would spawn on the surface due to lack of sunlight. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Better run.
The sphere of traveling also made it more difficult for jungle people to talk with each other, since players could only read chat messages from people 100 blocks away from them or less. Although frankly, at least they didn't have to see what me and the admins were looking at.
Hold on.
Although frankly, at least they didn't have to see what me and the admins were.
Theft FF, you should see them. Yo, the bunny I was bringing for our mascot killed itself. You dick. Yo. Bro's dying. First lost Pollo Hermano's location. Oh my god. Hector.
Lastly, we get to the Plains Island, and boy was it different from the others. It truly was just the perfect island to live on, with green grass, trees, animals, and no natural dangers.
Exactly
Guys,
what
make
I
a little
imagined.
animal family. Or farm. Not needing to worry about dying as much as everyone else, the people on the Plains Island were among the first to start mining for resources like iron or diamonds. They were also the first to build up villages and, yes, to create civilizations. Throughout the first day, you could see two main groups starting to come together. One of them a democracy led by a player named Horace Crown.
Our aim is building the most beautiful and nicest city on the entire server.
And the second also a democracy led by a player named Sidefall.
I just want to make sure nobody dies.
It was actually kind of odd how similar
Fair.
these two civilizations were. They were both located on the southern shore, they both
a
had
good
democratic elections, and their leaders both wanted good for their own people. I just hope nothing happens to change that.
Ish, I'm gonna make an Among Us character.
Never mind, I hope they die. Soon.
That was a subtle foreshadowing there. How does the quote go again in the movie? And I trust by now that you all know what the eventual outcome is going to be. A lot of people are going to die in Minecraft. Ian Malcolm, Jurassic Park.
When it was the end of day one, players across all 4 islands logged off and made plans for the following day.
Ooh.
It was on day 2 when civilization
53
really
already
began
dropped,
to thrive.
okay.
In the southeast corner of the desert, what used to be an empty patch of grass was turning into the desert's largest nation. Hello, good sir.
Yo, what's up, Ish? The Sultan is back.
You might recognize the player storming hell from my first civilization video where he led a nation called the Sultanate. Well, now the desert dictator is back with the Sultanate 2.0, and this time with a population of over 100 people.
I want to maintain.
I'll be damned. First thing that they do, make pyramids. That's a civilization for you. Highly unnecessary in terms of resources, but in terms of asserting your dominance, yes. It's the equivalent of T-posing on people.
Order and peace in the desert.
The rules, as established by the Sultan, included wear proper attire, do not eat pork, complete your mandatory work, and most importantly, acknowledge the Sultan as the supreme and divinely chosen leader.
Stafula. Yo, that face right there.
Moving on, since it was still hard to get food in a dry climate, the people of the Sultanate focused on developing different types of food production, like fishing in the surrounding ocean. On top of this, a player named Drip Chicken made a chicken market, although when I checked it out myself, it turned out to be a very different type of market.
Welcome to Los Pollos Hermanos.
Thank you.
Would you like some totally legal sugar?
Anyway.
Oh. Wow. What's with the kandura? It's like generally seen as the traditional attire for Arab man, but drip chicken without face.
We finally go back to the Snow Island. As I was flying around, I found what I can only describe as a British shrimp. Is the cold climate really the best place for a shrimp?
I mean, depends. Look at my little friend over here, you know?
Oh my god, it's so good with the accent.
Yeah, he's fully here. He's literally...
Oh.
he's chilling.
Oh, he's up here now.
No, my fish buddy. Please go back down.
Despite the killer powdered snow and the occasional polar bear, the people on the Snow Island were actually doing pretty well building settlements together. Nobody was fighting because everyone had one common enemy, the harsh climate. That being said, it turned out that all of these snow settlements might be a bit more than just little communities. On day 2, rumor was getting out about a conspiracy that, despite them all being spread out across the entire island, a lot of these snow settlements were actually all being run by one single person whose goal was to unify the entire Snow Island under one mighty empire. This person's name was Alanulo, and he was running this entire empire recruitment operation from an underground bunker.
Why does that name sound familiar? Am I tripping? Oh, no. Oh, it's... Somebody in the comment section of the previous video might have mentioned him, that's why.
Where he felt he was safe for the time being. Essentially what he would do was hold meetings with people who were already leaders of their own settlements and convince them to merge their civilizations with his empire so they would be stronger together. He would give these leaders orders to fulfill, and in exchange they would be guaranteed high-ranking positions in the empire.
Okay, so I'm feeling it's just a little bit odd, this, because in order to follow through all of this properly, I might want to go back and watch the very first video that he uploaded. But I'm gonna continue with this one because obviously we're already doing it.
If this empire actually succeeds in uniting all 300 people on the Snow Island, it would easily become the most powerful nation in the world. In fact, it would be bigger than the Sultanate and the two Plains democracies combined. Will this ambitious plan actually succeed? Let's see what happens in the following days.
Because there seems to be some degree of continuity here. But then there's the people in the jungle, right? They could just turn out to all be Amazons. That's a nice meeting spot.
We've now covered the politics of every island except for the jungle, so what's going on here? Well, quite frankly, I had no freaking idea. It was chaos. There were about 30 different camps and tribes spread out across the entire island, and a lot of them were in constant fights with each other. What is going on? There's a fight here. Here's a tribe that imprisoned one of their own members for being, quote, too rich.
I say we tax him and then let him out of jail.
Boots, take your shoes.
So overall, there was chaos, nobody trusted one another, and to add to this, nobody wanted to travel too far into the jungle because they were scared of rogue tribes and especially hostile mobs.
Hey.
We actually had to remove creepers on day 3 because they were killing too many people.
Whoever asked.
Oh!
Now, there were actually 2 tribes that were considered the most influential in the jungle. The first, a river-based settlement called the Sea People, whose leader was killed almost immediately by a random rogue tribe. The new leader, Yeetspeak, dedicated his rule to maintaining order, but also to keeping his people happy by setting up events like stand-up comedy nights.
I got a few jokes about unemployed people. Oh wait, none of them work.
The second influential tribe was located in the dead center of the jungle, and it was what appeared to be a faction revolving around the worship of a player named Seth. Hello, Mr. Seth.
Oh, what's up, bro?
Oh, this is just creepy. You're telling me this isn't a personality cult?
Nah, I wouldn't say that. It's a way of life, all right? It's a religion.
Lastly, as I was flying around, I happened to run into this guy again.
I'm gonna take over the world.
Believe it or not, he had actually become the leader of a pretty impressive settlement. Granted, there was a lot of internal drama in his tribe.
Do you see this like really cool tower thing that we're building here?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. It's really cool. Isn't it? And do you see our farm over there? It looks really cool and nice. Now come over here. Could you tell us what this is?
In short, 2 of Wazik's tribe members built a librarian's tower, and he thought it was ugly and wanted to burn it down. Now, when I talked to the librarians, they said Wazik just doesn't like the library because he's illiterate.
He can't read.
Now, the jungle wasn't the only place having problems. The Plains Island was seeing both a surge in development. This whole place is awesome, but also a rise in tension.
Wow, that looks like an old Viking village, like just slightly too tall. Vikings didn't like to build that tall. Well, it depended more on what Viking tribes we were talking about here. If you were the Dane ones, they absolutely did not build tall. The country is flat, by the way. But I guess like the depiction that was given here is more akin to what we will see in like fantasy tales, where the Jarl's house is on top of the hill.
Place is awesome, but also a rise in tension. The leader of one of the Plains democracies, Horus Crown, had found out that the other Plains nation run by Sidefall had reached out to the Snow Island looking for potential alliances. Horus Crown did not like that Sidefall was reaching out to other islands instead of reaching out to him, so he quickly established his own alliance with 2 other Plains settlements, both located on the east side of the island, which would essentially cut off Sidefall's access to most of planes if a war were to break out.
We think Sightfall is definitely up to something, and we're planning to stop him.
The people living on the Plains Island, who had otherwise taken their peaceful lives for granted, were getting very worried about a potential massive war that would devastate their homes.
KFC!
We want family, not war.
Meanwhile, on the desert island, the Sultan storming hell was not happy when he discovered that a group of mountaineers had made their home on the mountains surrounding the Sultanate. So, the two groups had a meeting to discuss this dispute over land.
Why does the Sultanate have any more right to a plot of land?
Simply, might makes right. We're stronger, so if it comes down to it, may the stronger group win.
People in the desert were starting to get worried about storming hell's tyrannical nature, so some of them moved to a quick democratic nation on the other side of the island. This was Theria, the name derived from the Greek word for freedom. I asked their elected president, Saps, about the Sultanate.
I imagine that he got super traumatized in this one. And thus, when he came to actually participate in the next one, he was like, no, I'm not taking any sides here. I don't want to lead.
Hopefully we can establish some peaceful relations for now. I mean, we're in the middle of a desert. Why fight, you know?
Overall, each island had its own conflict between the desert's sultan dominance, the plains' alliance disaster, the jungle's total chaos, and the Snow Empire's takeover. At least one of these conflicts was bound to erupt very soon. And that conflict was Plains. At the beginning of day 4, a propagandist told everyone that Sightfall was about to attack the Plains Island. Horus Crown called a code red, and everyone on Plains was freaking out, including these guys at the center of the Plains Island who built a tavern on a lake. I spoke with the bartender.
Welcome to the tavern. I hope you can enjoy a nice beer, since it might be our last.
So at this point, you're probably wondering, what was Sightfall actually doing? Well, it turns out Sightfall was just as confused as everyone else, since he had no plans to attack anyone. The propagandist had lied.
I have no clue what these guys are talking about. I don't want to attack
They did
anyone.
what they did, propaganda.
You were framed. I can't believe it. So now, both sides were gearing up for a war over nothing but a miscommunication. And all throughout, Sightfall was desperately trying to reach out to the other Plains leaders, saying that he didn't want war. The other leaders doubted him, but they actually agreed to meet with him as long as they met on neutral ground.
Whoever told you guys they want war is lying.
Tell us the truth then.
While they talked, Horus Crown secretly had undercover spies search Sightfall's entire village, but he wasn't aware Sightfall had someone else place a bunch of TNT under his village. But before things went too far,
folks, we have a peace deal.
By the thinnest of margins, crisis was averted. After talking, the leaders had made a peace treaty. I actually didn't get to see much of the meeting, but here's essentially what happened. Sightfall first apologized to the other Plains leaders for not being open with them, specifically about his relationship with the Snow Island. He told them he had only reached out to Snow in hopes to get on the good side of a player named A Freaking Turkey, who was apparently Alanulo's second in command. The Plains leaders discussed their disagreements on foreign relations, Horus Crown preferring keeping alliances within Plains, and Sightfall believing in making allies on other islands. But they were able to put their differences aside. They banished the propagandist from the Plains Island, and at the end, the 4 major Plains nations created a Great Plains Alliance. The Plains Island went from being on the brink of war to being the most united island of all.
Alright, let's not rejoice too quickly there. There's still a person who planted a hell of a lot of TNT underneath their base. I'm gonna play a role later.
And it wasn't just Plains. Toward the end of the day, all 4 islands were prospering. From the people on Snow collecting resources and building together, to the people in the desert working on the Sultan's build project, which was to create a massive holy city. Even the jungle was at peace at the end of day 4, since the remaining jungle people were just thankful that they were still alive.
Bro went in the game and was like, we're gonna build Mecca right now. Oh my god, can somebody please make Rome? Please, somebody make Rome.
Soon though, it was the next day. But before we let people back onto the server, the admins and I decided to add a little something.
Vatican City. Oh.
we added a 5th island in the center of the world, and we didn't tell the players that we did this. We wanted to see who would discover the island, how long it would take to find, and then what would happen next. So we started up the server, and the wait began.
What the hell is that supposed to be like Atlantis?
We have to talk about the Snow Island. Hello, Turkey.
Rising from the bottom of the sea.
On day 5, the player A Freakin' Turkey finally gave me a full explanation of the mysterious Snow Empire, which I found out was named the Aculon Empire. Still fearing for his safety, the Empire's founder...
Aculon means, well, it's borrowed from Greek, I would say, from the word aculos, which is acorn, which I'm not sure they might have used to symbolize strength. Don't hold me to it though. I don't think that they thought about it as deeply as I just did, but it's a possibility.
Lanulo gave orders entirely from his secret underground bunker, while his second in command, A Freakin' Turkey, carried out his orders and led the people on the ground. You guys have settlements across the entire island.
There is a lot. Just know none of it was made by slaves.
The Empire relied on strict orders.
Well, we're just gonna trust that.
Peace. It's now 200 citizens were each assigned a daily job like building, mining, or fighting. And whenever they were online, all citizens were required to be in 2 Discord voice channels at once, which I didn't even know was possible. Also, the Aculon Empire made it a point to document everything, including its list of members, its hierarchies, its physical landmarks. But what I found most impressive was the high-level operation going on in this seemingly regular building.
That's good. That's really good, especially if you want to create that unity amongst all the tribes.
This singular building is the richest place in the entire server.
They called this the Quartermaster's House, and it was where the Aculon Empire not only collected and stored all its resources, but also distributed items using a complex request system, where, for example, a citizen asks for iron ingots, and then the Quartermasters decide exactly how much iron that citizen deserves based on a detailed algorithm they developed.
That's so cool.
Not yet. Let's just say, if you tried to get in without permission, you're not gonna get a very nice welcome.
And I kid you not, just a few minutes later, this player, Xelius, was caught trying to sneak his way in, and he was sentenced to a public execution to be held the next day. Things are kind of strict around here.
You scoundrel.
As long as they don't take me my squid, I'm a happy man. Oh man, look at him.
The Snow Island continued to be hyper-vigilant about criminals, but so were other nations, like the Desert Sultanate, which made an inescapable prison.
That makes sense.
Surrounded by lava. Or Wazak's nation in the jungle, which made a giant sand trap. Oh, this is evil.
Just you wait until we have a nice little deliberation with something.
Yeah, I'm gonna be put to death, you know. Like
even planes didn't feel exactly safe, as this self-described capitalist nation made a giant wall to protect its people.
We want to make sure that communists cannot take this away.
The
But
communists.
as I was talking to these guys, I got tipped
This place definitely American.
off from someone in the desert that something big was about to happen. The Sultanate army's on the move. The Sultanate sent his elite squad on a secret nighttime mission. Their goal? To find a group of people that had been rumored to want to assassinate the Sultan. They're at the north side of the island now.
Oh yeah, okay, this is our target, this is our target.
Okay, let's go, let's go.
According to the Sultan, the people hiding in this little settlement were indeed the attempted assassins, and now the group had a decision to make.
Oh, we're gonna kill this guy.
Do we kill this guy?
Up until now, there hadn't been any violence between desert nations. Will this be the breaking point?
We are showing the desert that if you make plans to kill me, justice will come for you.
The Sultan's elite squad spent the rest of the night raiding the settlement, but during their chase of another suspected assassin, they ran, literally, into a major dilemma.
We know he's running to Theria.
The guy they were trying to kill was running toward the democratic nation of Theria to get asylum there. The Sultanate is really about to roll up on Theria. Holy. This could cause a major conflict. But the Sultanate's army didn't care. They barged into Theria and searched every single house to find this one person, who ultimately ended up getting away. Meanwhile,
Quinoa Falafel is also a funny name to have.
Looked to their leader Saps for guidance. He was nowhere to be seen. He had fled.
Saps.
Eventually, the Sultanate's army left, but Theria was not going to forget this.
Okay, so as we understand, Sam has a reputation of just running away. But there was no attempt on his life though.
By attempting to blow up the quartermaster's house, Zelius betrayed our people. And for this, he must die.
Oh.
Glory to Aculon.
It was a busy day for A Freakin' Turkey. The execution was successful, but the Empire didn't yet have a written constitution or a justice system. So A Freakin' Turkey met with a player who claimed to be a lawyer to set up a legal system.
Okay, where's Jesse and the professor? At this point, all I'm hearing is just the theme of Better Call Saul playing in 8-bit. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, guys.
You get the smaller seat, unfortunately, but do know it is quite important as well.
I'm used to cramming into tight spaces.
Afterward, A Freakin' Turkey took his guard to Drew and confronted some farmers who he claimed weren't producing enough food for the Empire.
I swear I will not miss any payment I have to owe you.
Drew, the bow, please. I expect 5 stacks of bread delivered within 1 to 2 business days.
Even though he was a little tyrannical at times, A Freakin' Turkey was actually becoming very well liked in the Aculon Empire because he got things done and he was a charismatic speaker.
Him being so verbal is so weird.
It is my distinct honor to pronounce Steve and Pixel as husband and wife.
See, even though he was only the second in command of the Snow's Aculon Empire, many people were starting to view A Freakin' Turkey as a better candidate for leader than Olanulo, since most people in the Empire had never even seen Olanulo, given that he's been hiding underground the entire time, afraid of being assassinated. In fact, some of his own citizens weren't even sure he existed. While Olanulo ruled from afar, only talking with high-ranking officials, A Freakin' Turkey was considered a man of the people, someone who talks to everyone. In fact, A Freakin' Turkey had gained so much notoriety that leaders of other nations were starting to reach out to him for alliances rather than to Olanulo. So as a result of all of this, Olanulo was starting to get a little worried.
I mean, why? You're trying not to get assassinated, so that's fine. Leave him to be your proxy, right? Proxy, that's the right word. Once delegate. So yeah,
Turkey
just let him do that.
knows that I created this empire and its entire political system, and as long as I am alive, I will be its only ruler.
Ooh, so deep on the ground. Okay, that's a that's a little bit excessive. Having, what was that, like 10 stories worth of paranoia? That's a little bit much, buddy.
That's very funny.
Our monkey religion, we hold fast to.
Here on the Jungle Island, things haven't slowed down one bit. Amidst the chaos, this small group had made a monkey religion.
They worship
and their
Kong.
goal was to build the biggest tree in the entire world.
The
We're
monkey
so
never stops.
industrious.
While everyone else is fighting and killing each other, we are peacefully building.
By now, every tribe in the jungle seemed to have its own goal. These guys, building a tree. This group, called the Blue Cross, provided food and shelter to refugees.
Hey.
Meanwhile, Wazak's goal, which was still to take over the world, was seemingly driving him mad, especially after the librarians built a second tower. You did this out of spite, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, yeah.
Overall, it seemed like there was a lot on Wazak's mind, as if he was planning something.
Oh no.
Big.
Don't go after the towers. Please. I should have uploaded this video in September. Too soon.
Meanwhile, Seth and the Sea People were still the two biggest tribes in the jungle, and both pursued very innovative political strategies. For example, Seth got married, but only so he could parade around the jungle and demand wedding gifts from everyone. And you know what? It freaking worked. The sea people, on the other hand, had taken on a massive goal, which was to finally end the chaos in the jungle. And they did this by sending out stealth groups and hunting down thieves, murderers, and anyone who they claimed did wrong. However, some of the supposed wrongdoers they killed were actually allies of Seth. In response, Seth demanded that the Sea People stop their initiative immediately, but the Sea People planned to continue. All of a sudden, the jungle island was on the verge of a massive war, as if there wasn't enough chaos already.
Pokemon.
Is someone actually here?
I think so.
Hey!
Whoa, this is crazy. This is awesome, man.
Found it.
On day 7, a player named the Pokemonkey discovered the secret 5th island. The island had a mysterious dead terrain, a small pre-built village in the center, and underground, it contained netherite, which is the strongest and rarest resource in the world. Now, Pokemonkey was a part of Sidefall's nation in Plains, and he quickly alerted Sidefall about the very strange and unexpected discovery he'd just made. He's taking the blue lantern so people believe him. Guys, I'm not lying, there really is an island! 2 minutes later, another person found the center island. This time, someone from the jungle. Then, like a domino effect, more and more people started arriving, typically either alone or in small groups, like these guys from the desert. Even though they all came from different islands and nations, nobody was fighting. In fact, they seemed to be forming friendships and simply admiring this new mysterious place. He's saying this is amazing. Quickly, word began spreading across the world that there was a 5th island, and about 30 minutes into day 7, basically everyone knew. It was crazy how fast everyone found out. Now, some nations were hesitant about visiting, believing that the island was some sort of trap, while other nations like the Aculon Empire sent out large exploratory groups to investigate the island. So Aculon is here, but instead of mining for netherite, they're taking the wool from the tents.
That makes sense. They don't have sheep.
Oh, they don't have sheep in the snow island. That makes sense. Something I found interesting was that no nation, not even the Snow Empire, had the courage to publicly claim the center island as part of their nation, as their territory, probably because it would result in conflict with other nations, which was my secret intention when adding the island, that it would cause some type of war. But it didn't cause a war, or maybe just not yet.
It'll come eventually. That tends to happen to neutral ground.
I present to you the story of Los Pollos Hermanos.
Drip chicken.
Wow, you've really expanded your business.
Yeah, we're doing quite well.
Because starvation was such a big problem in the desert, Drip Chicken had made it his life's mission to feed the people of the desert. And ever since I spoke with him on day 2 next to his little food stand, Los Pollos Hermanos had become a staple of the Sultanate. But this business would soon run into some problems. See, on days 4 and 5, the Sultan storming hell was unsatisfied with the slow progress on his build project, the Holy City. So he demanded that the farmers of the Sultanate stop growing food and instead work on his build project. And just like that, the food supply going into Los Pollos Hermanos had completely stopped. The restaurant suddenly had no food available to sell. Having no food, Drip Chicken was instead forced to sell some questionable products, and if he was caught selling these products by either the Sultan or the Sultan's twin guards, he would probably receive a life sentence in the Sultanate prison. Meanwhile, the farmers of the Sultanate were unhappy since they wanted to farm, not be forced to build. So in a rebellious move on day 5, Drip Chicken and the farmers secretly set up a meeting with Saps, the leader of Theria.
I know you want to move to Theria, but if you do, the Sultan will send his elite squad to hunt you down.
So
he will.
Go to plains or something. There's about to be chaos in the desert.
And Saps was correct. There was about to be chaos in the desert. For reasons he couldn't tell the farmers just yet, but he did tell me.
You know who Davert is?
Yeah, I think so. He's one of the twin guards, right?
He's about to leave the Sultanate and join me.
Really? The two people the Sultan trusts the most are his two twin guards, the brothers Davert and Zamta, but one of them had grown tired of the authoritarian and warmongering ways of the Sultan.
That is exactly what I thought, because authoritarianism, well, historically speaking here, tends to feel cool to begin with, because it feels as if you can get the job done by force and with no funny business. Some of you may know the movie Wall Street, right, where the quote goes something like, being greedy takes you somewhere, then greed is right, greed works, it clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Which is wrong, by the way. That's a quote from Gordon Gekko, is the character in the movie. It's like a term that was borrowed by Adam Smith, the philosopher, his philosophy of the invisible hand, that if only we chase after the self-interest of a specific group or of a single person, the market will inevitably make it profit everybody else. But the issue with that is that there is a moral demand that is never filled with that. Because in the past, you would have had things like a certain duty that was expected from the rich to always trickle down the riches to the rest of the world around them, that is, contributing to actual philanthropic work such as building churches, helping pave roads, building libraries. But this is something that we will never see rich people today do, lest they want to avoid paying taxes. And much like Adam Smith, there was another gentleman that some of you may know who had that ideal of the inevitability of things getting better, who was Martin Luther King. He had this wonderful quote that is, the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. This was not one of his best quotes, because there is no inevitability in the world. History has no destination whatsoever, and if you want to have justice in this world, if there is any justice in this world, or in the world of Minecraft, it's something that is to be achieved through one's own actions. And thus, you need to get at the helm, you need to actually force the actions yourself. And what history tells us is that some of the biggest changes are often enacted by people who were themselves in these circles of power, who have seen the wrongs of their doings and actually want to enact that moral change.
So Davert had reached out to the leader of Theria, and together they created the single craziest plan I have ever heard, and this was it.
By the way, sorry for being a little bit preachy for some of you, but yeah, that's kind of how my mind works sometimes. I notice certain things and I speak of historical matters or scientific ones. That's kind of what the brand of the channel is built upon.
First, Davert leaves the Sultanate to join Theria. Next, the Sultan finds out about the betrayal and sends his elite squad to kill Davert. Then, when the elite squad is away hunting for Davert, and the Sultan is therefore alone, Davert will sneak back into the Sultanate and kill the Sultan. Davert will then claim leadership over the Sultanate, and as the new leader, he will finally bring peace to the desert.
God, I love
Davert, there is no way this works.
Brother, grow some chest hair. Trust me, you'll work, alright?
So, at the end of day 7, Davert snuck out of the Sultanate and headed to Theria to begin the operation, while Drip Chicken and the farmers fled to the Plains Island. On their way out, some of them took one final look back at their home, at their restaurant, knowing that they would probably never see it again.
Pollos
Knowing
Hermanos.
that the story of Los Pollos Hermanos had come to an end.
Damn, Drip Chicken. Oh, that's good.
On day 8, there was a major event on the Snow Island. For the first time ever, Emperor Olanulo had come out from his underground bunker. He had summoned the entire Snow Island to the Aculon Castle so he could publicly be crowned as the leader.
I forgot. You could, of course. Some would, of course, do that in churches.
Before the coronation, all high-ranking officials were required to provide Alanilo a gift.
I present to you a high-quality pair of premium brand sneakers.
Thank you, Applewood.
I, Baron Saul Goodman, give you this present, Lord Alanilo. My presence is your present.
After the gifts, Alanilo asked his second-in-command, a freaking turkey, to make a speech affirming Alanilo's undisputed leadership.
My friends, the Aculan Empire is the strongest nation in the world. Not because of one leader, but because of all of us.
Thank you, Turkey.
At the end of the ceremony, Alanilo asked all of his citizens to follow him out of the castle, down the main path of the Empire, in a symbolic move meant to showcase the unity of the Snow Island.
Oh no. I feel like he's gonna pull something.
But
After
this image
his
of unity
monologue.
was only a mirage. There was a lot of discontent building within the Empire for many reasons.
Yeah.
People didn't like that Alanilo's knights were constantly bossing them around, nor did the Aculan builders like it when Alanilo forced them to work on the Aculan castle instead of letting them finish their own projects.
Oh no, they did the same thing as the Sultan. God damn it, that's not gonna work.
There was this general sense that Alanilo might be overreaching with his power, especially when he started spying on his own citizens to see who was criticizing his leadership. See, Alanilo believed that in order for his citizens to have a good life, they have to live in a strong nation, and the only way to maintain a strong nation was through complete unity under a powerful and unchallenged leader.
Authoritarianism. To the max.
This is why Alanilo was fearful about the discontent within his nation, as well as the rising popularity of his second-in-command, a freaking turkey. Knowing that they were being spied on, many of A Freakin' Turkey's supporters were becoming scared living on the Snow Island, afraid that they would be executed for not supporting Alanilo's leadership. So, with the help of A Freakin' Turkey, plus another high-ranking official, its Ender, some Aculan citizens organized secret evacuations out of the Snow Island through underground tunnels, some of which led to Seth's nation in the jungle, others going to Sidefall nation in plains. Both Seth and Sidefall were very open to accepting refugees, especially those who opposed Alanilo, someone who they believed to be a dangerous tyrant. Also, they had just found out that Alanilo had actually sent spies all across the world, including into their own nations, so they didn't like him very much.
We're not going back until there's some form of democracy in Snow.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Meanwhile in Plains, Mr. Turkey, are you starting a revolution?
No, I do not want a revolution. I just want to make sure Alanilo doesn't kill these people.
When are you going back to the Snow Island?
Probably tomorrow, because I'm gonna try and host a meeting with Alanilo. I just think he's gone too far.
So while A Freakin' Turkey stayed on the Plains Island for the rest of the day, Seth and Sidefall created the first ever multi-island treaty. This treaty not only established Seth and Sidefall as allies, but it also declared their nations refugee states, ones that are willing to accept all people fleeing from dictatorial regimes like the Sultanates or the Aculan Empire.
Play the punk rocker soundtrack right now.
Empire, he was still technically the second in command, but it was only a matter of time before Alanilo finds out about the missing citizens, and then it's very likely that Turkey will be stripped of his position or be kicked out of the Snow Island entirely and become a refugee himself. Yeah, I don't know if... Wait, is that a basketball court?
Wow.
On day 8, the center island was getting a lot of visits from curious players, and instead of fighting each other, everyone was just kind of hanging out and doing their own thing.
Look at this.
The neutral island.
What is this? Don't question me. Later that night, some adventurers started terraforming the dead terrain, making it green. This actually looks not bad. These guys, meanwhile, made a secret underground church, and they hosted many ceremonies and cultural events. What type of ritual is this? Now, I actually attended 2 churches on day 8, the second one inside Falls Nation, although I was very disturbed by the person sitting next to me.
After a near-death I began to feel more sacred. Only to impart the
Cool wedding, Ellen. You guys got wood? No. Are you coming? Oh my god.
I cannot say
I almost read that as queen ass.
what they are. However, right way to lead this world.
Whoa, what did I do?
They're taking him away. Oh no. Later that night, the Plains Island received an unexpected visit from the Aculon Empire's state-sponsored journalist. I'm with the news. Down with the news. Go away, tabloids. Go away. No false news today. They're kicking out the journalists. Oh my god. Meanwhile, I ran into these Plains farmers who literally did nothing but plant wheat everywhere. Oh my god.
Wow.
Freaking wheat.
Now, right next to the wheat field was a cookie factory in Horus Crown's nation, which took the wheat and made a variety of baked goods. See, ever since the Great Plains Alliance was signed on day 4, the people of Plains believed their island to be, for the most part, a very safe place to live, and as a result, many players felt secure enough to run their own businesses. There was the bakery, an Outback Steakhouse, boating and kayaking, 2 KFCs, and there was the most recent addition, Los Pollos Hermanos.
Hey, they're back!
You made one in the Plains biome?
Yes. Expansion.
Claiming refugee status, Drip Chicken and the Sultanate farmers received citizenship inside Falls Nation, where they were able to rebuild their famous restaurant, and the people of Plains welcomed the refugees with open arms. The only person who wasn't happy was the owner of KFC, who
obviously.
now had competition. Anyway, when word got out in the desert that Drip Chicken and the farmers had fled the Sultanate, as did Davrit, many loyalists in the Sultanate were furious with these betrayals. While the Sultanate was still the second most powerful nation in the world, the first being Aculon, these betrayals of the Sultanate hurt the Sultan's public image, and he feared being seen as weak by the world and by his own people. So predictably, the Sultan sent his elite squad out into the desert to try to find and kill both Davrit and Drip Chicken. But instead of staying home in the Sultanate, this time the Sultan traveled with his elite squad. This threw a wrench into Davrit's assassination plan, and Davrit had no choice but to keep hiding underground until he saw an opportunity to strike. Meanwhile, the leader of Theria, Saps, was extremely worried because he knew that the fate of his nation and his people rested on this assassination attempt. If it succeeds and the Sultan is killed, well, then all is well. But if it fails, it will only be a matter of time before the Sultan finds out that Saps was behind the plan. And then there is no doubt that the Sultan will seek revenge and absolutely obliterate Theria, killing not just Saps, but all his people who, by the way, were entirely innocent. Saps purposefully didn't tell any of his citizens that he was involved in an assassination plot because they definitely wouldn't approve of something that puts them in such danger.
God damn it, this time around, Sap's the guy who kind of started all the trouble.
All of this tension in the desert was really starting to get to some people, like this group, which made a giant lava wall around their civilization. They wanted nothing to do with the politics of the desert, and they were rather paranoid about everything.
The walls keep us safe. We can't leave the walls for long, because then we're not safe. Everyone inside the walls is safe, everyone outside is not safe. They're strangers, we shouldn't trust them.
Worship the wall! God damn, they're gonna turn into those people from Attack on Titan.
Oh, by the way, also don't push any buttons you find in here.
Okay. I actually think this group was more of a cult than a civilization, but
still,
I think they had the right idea. And now we go back to the Jungle War.
In the jungle.
I say war because both major nations had already basically decided that they cannot coexist in the jungle. Seth was mad at the Sea People for killing many of his allies, while the Sea People were mad because Seth wouldn't let them kill those who they believed to be criminals. Neither nation was willing to compromise on this, so war seemed inevitable. However, because Seth had also recently formed an alliance with Sidefall from Plains, a war between the two jungle nations would likely cause Sidefall, as well as the rest of the Plains Island, to join the battle, thus turning this into an actual world war. So, given that the stakes were so much higher now, both sides agreed to have one final meeting to maybe work things out. It was Wazak who quickly offered his nation as a good neutral location for the meeting, and he was quite enthusiastic about hosting. On day 8, Seth and the Sea People sent their highest ranking officials to Wazak's nation, where the meeting would take place.
Alright, Seth, you're up first.
I think the Sea People are killing people for a lot of irrational reasons. So, you know, as an example, right? They had 5 stacks of cookies taken from them. That takes like 3 minutes to get, bro. And
Okay.
like, I don't think you should murder someone.
That's fair.
We
That's
requested
fair.
to give it back, and he basically said no, so he was put on KOS and we killed him.
So that was exactly what Seth just said.
Let me add some context.
Soon, the argument began to escalate.
Fucking murder for cookies.
I'm sorry, but what other ways do we have to stop the chaos in the jungle?
They stole. They deserve to be killed over it.
Do you really want to go to war over this?
Well, if you keep killing our people, then we won't just stand by and watch.
Alright, fine. The Sea People declare war.
Alright, let's do it.
But before a fight could begin, Wazak yelled,
"Double, no!"
Wait, what? Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh my god.
Go, 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 go!
What is going on with our
killed
assassin?
7
people using his sand trap before getting away. Seth and the Sea People decided to put their war on hold and declared a unified worldwide manhunt for Wazak. Everyone was confused about why Wazak did this, but then I remembered something Wazak had told me the day before.
Son of a
Audio Jungle.
He did it all to unite people. Oh no! I hate it when people do stuff like this.
Listen, if the war breaks out, I have a plan to stop it.
Really? How?
Oh, you'll see, my friend.
When
sacrificial lamb
declared war on each other, Wazak decided to use his sand trap and make himself the villain, so that the entire jungle would make peace to unite against him, therefore actually preventing a world war. Wazak is now hiding underground.
That's wild.
After spending most of the previous day trying to hunt down his enemies, the Sultan storming Hell decided to take a break from the hunt and attend a wedding hosted by a small neighboring desert nation. It was a huge honor in the desert for the Sultan to visit your civilization, so there was a lot of buzz surrounding the Sultan's visit, and everyone in the desert knew he would be there.
Right.
Zamta the twin guard was also at the wedding, and he was quite thankful for the break since he secretly despised having to hunt for his own brother when the Sultan demanded that Davert be tracked down and killed.
Oh god, I think I just confused Davrik with Wazak, who just hit on the ground. Yeah, never mind.
Kept silent, fearing that he'd be next. Zamta could only hope that Davert was far away now, hiding in a place where the Sultan would never find him. But it turned out Davert was not
very
far away at
close.
all, because he was on a mission. Look, he's actually here. Davert was coming to kill the Sultan, but he had to be sneaky because the Sultan was guarded by his elite team. The plan was to catch him and his team off guard since it would only take a few hits to kill him. I'm so nervous right now. Did the wedding end? The wedding's over. He's leaving. Oh, God, he's leaving.
Damn it, too late! No! No!
Oh! Davert! Holy crap! Oh many times. Wait, Storming's getting away? The elite team is on Davern big time. Oh,
Oh, better than mission! Brother!
oh, oh, he's getting close. He's getting close. Oh, he turned around. Holy crap, everyone's here now. This is insane.
Oh, my brother in Christ! Oh no, so I say my brother in Allah. Oh, sap. Don't we know this move? Sap, god damn it. Skill issue. Of course somebody will write that.
Sultan's on his way back home, I think. What is happening?
Now no one will ever know of what they were plotting. Just kill the Sultan. Yes! I fucking knew it! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Oh boy.
Enough is enough.
Angry about the death of his brother Davrit, Zamta betrayed and killed the Sultan storming hell in what he called an act of revenge. All of a sudden, within the span of a few minutes, storming hell, Saps, and Davrit were all dead. Both the Sultanate and Theria were without a leader, and the desert island was in a state of total confusion.
Holy shit.
Now, because the Sultanate didn't have a solid line of succession, there was a short power struggle that ended with the Sultanate getting completely dissolved. On day 9, the second most powerful nation in the world had fallen, and most of the Sultanate's citizens ended up fleeing. That being said, it wasn't totally the end. Some who were still loyal to the late Sultan decided to form their own militias, whose only goal was to track down Zamta and avenge the Sultan.
We are called by our divine leader to kill the dirty traitor. Mashallah.
Mashallah.
Theria, on the other hand, didn't dissolve and instead elected a new leader, a player named Jophiel, who was well liked and trusted in the community.
Wow.
Still, the people of Theria would continue to live in a state of fear, afraid they would be invaded by one of the new desert militias. Also, they would never find out why their founder Saps jumped off the Therian tower, which he did because of guilt. After he saw Davrit die, Saps believed that the Sultan would invade and destroy Theria, and he felt too ashamed knowing that he would be responsible. It was only thanks to Zamta that the invasion didn't happen.
Yeah.
The death of the Sultan sent shockwaves throughout not just the desert, but the whole world. Many nations went on lockdown, including the Akulon Empire. While they technically weren't allies, Emperor Olanilo had always admired Sultan Storming Hell's strong authoritarian leadership.
Of course he did.
After the lockdown, Olanilo sent his diplomats to the desert to offer support to the Sultanate militias. At the same time, on the Plains Island, Drip Chicken of Los Pollos Hermanos was watching the desert from afar, and he was worried about these rumored desert militias. Because Drip Chicken was from the desert, he was able to educate his customers in Plains about the politics of the desert, and after Saps' death, he encouraged Sidefall to send diplomats to Theria quickly, and Sidefall did just that. On day 9, Theria officially joined Seth and all the Plains nations in the refugee state contract, and what originally started as a simple refugee agreement between Seth and Sidefall had now turned into a worldwide alliance called the Alliance of Democratic Nations, or put simply, the Allies.
Ah, so that's how it starts, huh? Now understand why what facilitated the kind of pattern from the previous video, or the later video, to happen, because they kind of already had this structure and some of the big players were involved in this. But it's nice to see how these things evolve.
As the people of the Aculon Empire continued their daily routines, the highest-ranking officials of the Empire gathered to discuss the new existential dilemma they were now facing. The Aculon Empire had always been the most powerful nation in the world, and it still technically is, but when adding together the populations of all the states in the Democratic Nations Alliance, it is the allies that have more people overall. This made Aculon officials extremely worried. They saw this as the first legitimate threat to the regime. Olanulo agreed with this view, but at the moment, his attention was on another problem entirely.
Freaking
the
Turkey?
problem known as a freaking Turkey.
Of course.
A freaking Turkey's rise to popularity had always bothered Olanulo, but now this conflict was at an absolute breaking point because yesterday, one of Olanulo's spies caught a freaking Turkey helping Snow citizens flee the Empire. Fleeing or defecting was strictly against Aculon law. Olanulo's spy also saw a freaking Turkey hanging out with not just Sidefall, but nearly all the major plains leaders, which made Olanulo think, is a freaking Turkey planning something?
No, he's a diplomat. That's what diplomats do. They try their best even if they have to work with the would-be enemy.
Is he secretly working with the allies? Is he
It's
about
not to
orchestrate
gain your
a
country.
full-scale revolution or an invasion of the Aculon Empire? These were all questions that Olanulo was wrestling with, and the more he thought about it, the more he convinced himself that a freaking Turkey was probably committing some sort of treason and needed to be stopped. Yesterday, a freaking Turkey had reached out to Olanulo for a meeting, and today, Olanulo accepted this request, but with a few conditions. 1, this meeting takes place at the Aculon Castle. 2, Turkey comes alone. And 3, the meeting takes place not today, but tomorrow, because Olanulo needed some extra time for his builders to finish a certain project located on the top of the Aculon Castle. Nobody knew why or what the strange-looking tower was, but Olanulo insisted it be completed by the time Turkey shows up.
Wow.
Tomorrow is certainly going to be interesting, so make sure everyone's ready.
Lastly, later in the day, Olanulo sent diplomats to establish alliances with both the desert militias and with the sea people in the jungle. Olanulo appreciated the sea people's value of order, and he promised that he will help them stop the chaos in the jungle and help them catch their #1 most wanted criminal, Wazuk. The sea people
Who was still hiding
accepted this
underground.
alliance, but they ended up not needing Aculon's help because late into day 9, Wazuk decided to turn himself in.
Oh. I'll be damned.
He's about to be executed. A guilty conscience, perhaps.
Oh, that's what the
Wazuk,
tree is
I
for.
Understand you have a prepared statement. You
That's
may now
cool.
read your final words.
Yes, thank you. Hello everyone, it's your old friend Wazok. In the beginning, I wanted to rule the world. But I've made some bad decisions. And now, it's my time to go.
You killed innocents. Stop making speak.
If there's one thing I've learned, is that time can never be your trusted friend.
Yeah. Oh, I think he's dead.
Long live the jungle.
Kill him. He's not gonna do it, is he? Oh, someone pushed him. Ave Maria.
After deciding that being a criminal in hiding isn't how he wanted to live, Wazuk instead chose to face his inevitable death on his own terms, and by doing so, he gave the jungle one last moment of unity.
Anyone else jumping?
The conflict between the two major jungle tribes was still unresolved, especially now that they were in opposing alliances, but for this brief moment, there was peace in the jungle.
There's always someone. Is anybody else jumping? What? I'm just asking.
Well, that was fun. Everyone's coming down the tree now. Most nations around the world took the end of day 9 to rest and reflect on how far they've come. For example, the jungle's Blue Cross tribe celebrated becoming international, with at least one charity location on each island.
Cool.
Meanwhile, in the desert, the two Sultanate militias held a funeral for the late Sultan, where they vowed to get revenge and chanted death to Theria, after which they proceeded to finish building the Sultan's holy city in his honor. Theria, on the other hand, expanded its reach into the arts and became the first civilization to develop music. Oh.
Bruh. It's... Okay, this video is 2 years old. Still, it's 2023. Can we move away from getting rickrolled?
Lastly, on the Plains Island, businesses were booming and civilizations were thriving. On day 9, the Plains Island had finished the construction of the ISH, the International State Highway, which made trade and transportation between the major Plains nations much faster. Overall, the building and architecture and player creativity in Plains was simply amazing. And it was all made possible by the political stability of the Plains Island. Many in the desert and jungle and snow looked at Plains as the shining beacon that they can aspire to be like one day.
Or inevitably destroy it, because that's how you do. I hope not, but I could imagine some shenanigans like that happening.
As the end of the day approached, A Freak in Turkey returned to the Plains Tavern after spending the day traveling around the world, visiting civilizations in the jungle, the deserts, and of course the Plains Island. During
Dude
many
is
of
just
his visits,
chilling.
He was very surprised when he found out that most people from these foreign nations not only knew about him, but admired him. This was because rumor had spread about his disobedience to Olanulo, and as a result, he had earned a worldwide reputation as the savior of refugees, the honorable rebel, the man who stood up to the emperor, and everywhere A Freak in Turkey went, he was welcomed with open arms. By the way, I think he would have been perfect for that.
Yeah, I heard there was a comedy show here. You should have called me over.
When it came to the Akulon Empire, the truth was, A Freak in Turkey had no intention of causing any type of uprising or revolution. In fact, he was strictly against the idea.
He was just the
knowing
chillest
how
guy.
devastating a major war would be. But he did want change in the Empire. During his prolonged stay in Plains, he had seen what freedom and democracy look like. He had come to regret his more tyrannical actions in the early days, and he now envisioned a reformed Akulon Empire.
Yo, pull the bow. That's such a snarky thing to do.
New dream was to bring democracy to Snow, bring freedom to the people of the Akulon Empire, and make the Snow refugees feel safe to come back home.
I might just be overly optimistic, but I think we can achieve world peace.
Okay. If A Freak in Turkey is able to convince Olanulo to convert the empire from a tyrannical dictatorship into a free democracy, and then the Akulon Empire ends up joining the Allies, then world peace wouldn't just be a far-fetched idea for wishful thinkers. It would actually happen. With this massive goal in mind, A Freak in Turkey prepared for tomorrow for his big meeting with Olanulo.
This is where things go extremely wrong. What he should have done was to use those diplomatic credentials and send a messenger to communicate with Olanulo first. And then, if they came to an agreement, then he would have joined the meeting.
Just remember everything we talked about. We'll be watching.
Before A Freakin' Turkey took off for the Snow Island, he had met with the 4 major plains leaders one last time to tell them what he hopes to achieve in his upcoming talk with Elanulo.
And if
the plains leaders were pessimistic, see, when they heard about Elanulo's strict conditions for the meeting to take place, they suspected that this was going to be the meeting where Elanulo removes Turkey from his second-in-command position, or worse, puts Turkey in Aculon's prison. Whatever happens today, the Plains leaders promised Turkey that he has the full support of the allied nations. Even if they can't attend the meeting, they will be watching and will do whatever they can to help him.
So if he dies, they riot.
There we go, Turkey is now back on the Snow Island.
A freaking turkey, the capybara of Minecraft. Uh-oh. See, what's that? You would naturally ask.
This is weird. Turkey's been at the castle for like a few minutes now, and Elanulo's nowhere to be seen. Oh, he's right here. He's on his way.
What's the sign say?
Here we go. Everyone's here now. I think everyone's here now. Knights come to the castle. Wow, I think these are all the high-ranking officials of Aculon. They're all here.
Hear ye, hear ye. All barons, Duke Turkey, and fellow knights have now come together to speak with Emperor Elanulo. Elanulo, would you please start the conversation?
Wait. Turkey, hold up. So before we begin, sorry to interrupt. I have a special thing I want to do real quick.
Wait.
Here.
Drew, not yet. I want to do something first. Turkey, can you sit on the throne for a second?
Oh no.
Why?
Just do it.
Buddy, he does not want to usurp you. Come on.
What are we doing?
What is happening?
Stop being paranoid.
Can I trust you, Turkey?
Yeah?
You like this, right?
Yeah,
Sitting on the throne?
You put me on here. I don't know what you're talking about.
In front of all these people?
What are you getting on about?
I know that you've colluded with the Plains Alliance. And I know that you want to take over this nation. Take this throne for yourself.
Whoa. What?
There's nothing you can do at this point to convince me that you're not plotting a revolution against me. I caught you red-handed.
No! Elanulo! Yes, I've talked with Plains. I've also talked with Desert and Jungle. I am a diplomat. And I'll tell you this, all those people that I talked with will become our allies the moment we turn this place into an actual democracy.
Why are you secretly leading people off my island?
Because they thought you were going to kill them. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, so did I.
And you are proving him right now.
You want to get rid of me? You know what? How about I just leave, and you won't have to deal with me again? I'm just gonna go. Okay?
You are not getting the chance.
Yeah, and then you'll come back with an army. I'm sorry, Turkey.
That's why it was so tall. That long fall. It's so dramatic. Oh!
Wow.
Okay. Wait! Oh no, he killed his followers. The god and everybody else.
Supporters. They're hunting down his supporters as well. This is crazy. Like that, there was a purge on the Snow Island, and many of Turkey's supporters were killed. The few who were able to escape immediately swam to the other islands to tell everyone exactly what happened.
And all of the knights started executing Bernie, Ender, Turkey. They assassinated some of the most loved members of Akalon.
When African Turkey's death message appeared in chats, people around the world were outraged, and shortly after, the leaders of the allied nations started activating their militaries, putting them on standby.
Turkey once visited Los Pollos Hermanos. I'm giving the army chicken for 50% off to make sure they're ready for battle.
Meanwhile, Alanulo got word that the allies were preparing
it's
their
on business.
armies, so he declared a full lockdown, reached out to his own allies, and called them to the Akulon castle to be ready in case the allies declare war. And sure enough, when the Plains leaders talked with Theria and Seth, the vote was unanimous. On day 10, the Alliance of Democratic Nations officially declared war on the Akulon Empire.
I just want to say I wish you luck and great success. Hopefully we all see some of you tomorrow to sign the constitution of the new Akulon Republic. The new Akulon Republic that we all dream about having. Thank you. Thank you all.
This isn't about us. This isn't about our lives.
It's about a freaking Turkey.
Turkey and ridding the world of tyranny.
All the allied nations met up at the center island so they could attack the Snow Island together.
Today, we fight for revenge. We fight for freedom.
Wow. They got the one guy who had the voice of a commander.
Little did the allies know, Alanulo had set a trap. The Akulon builders had taken inspiration from history and created what they called the Iron Torch, the most advanced defensive tower in the world, complete with dangerous height, sturdy walls, arrow slits, and lava cover. This is
wow.
Crazy.
And they're all ready to operate that. Shit.
They're here.
Reconnaissance would have helped. That final battle.
Time can never be your trusted friend or your sworn ally. No, it's the harshest mistress of all. And life is just a chain.
That thing looks insane though.
Spent 1,000 hellos and goodbyes.
I initially thought that was the trap, but Alanulo actually was being pretty strategic about it. Ah, shit. Oh no. Well, he jumped. I didn't need to hide some more.
They're dropping lava on him.
Watch out for the arrows now. Keep going.
And dropping TNT. Wow. Hey. Oof.
What?
It's over.
Yes.
Soon after Olanulo died, the Aculon Empire officially surrendered.
Wait, Aculon's officials say they surrendered? Still kill them.
But even though Aculon surrendered, the allies didn't stop fighting. No mercy, no mercy. They're all saying no mercy. Like that, there was a purge on the Snow Island. But this time, it was the supporters of Turkey doing the killing. This is just an absolute slaughter fest.
Oh no!
After a while, the Allies had completely taken over the Iron Torch, and all the Aculon forces had either been killed or had fled the island and gone into hiding. And with that, the Alliance of Democratic Nations had defeated the Aculon Empire.
Democracy
It was
wins.
only when the war ended and the clouds parted that the Allies were finally able to reflect on what they had done. They had succeeded, but they had also shown no mercy. When their enemy surrendered, they continued to be ruthless and thirsty for blood. It was as if they had become their enemy. As the Allies each safely returned to their homes, now with a clear mind, many of them felt regret.
Of course they would, but now
Neither
they have to
side
do
was
things
completely
better.
Innocent, and the war was complicated. But at least it was over. And the Allies had won. It was clear, and they had succeeded. It was only when the war ended and the clouds parted that the Allies were finally able to reflect on what they had done. They had succeeded, but they had also shown no mercy. When their enemy surrendered, they continued to be ruthless and thirsty for blood.
No
It was as
mercy,
if
no
they had
regrets.
become their enemy.
I mean,
As the
technically,
Allies
yeah.
each safely returned to their homes, now with a clear mind, many of them felt regret.
But it's only through this that they can improve
Neither
and do
side was
better.
completely innocent, and the war was complicated. But at least it was over. And the Allies had won.
Oh. Well, still
Over the
a
next
lot of
few
players.
days, the people of Plains, Theria, Seth, and a few smaller nations created a world alliance with a massive parliament building on the center island where world leaders met to discuss the affairs of their nations.
That's
and
cool.
most importantly, to keep the peace.
That's
and
really
the first
cool.
order of business was pardoning the few living players who fought for Aculon so they didn't have to live in hiding.
Nice.
Meanwhile, the snow refugees were able to move back to the snow island
The Minecraft conventions.
The new Aculon Republic, putting democracy in snow. They also tore down the remains of the Iron Torch and put in its place a graveyard honoring all who died in the Battle of Aculon. And overlooking the graveyard was the man, or turkey, who inspired them all.
Turkey and drip chicken, MVP. Let's see more Los Pollos Hermanos.
And so, the jungle went back to hosting comedy shows, the desert went back to pursuing the arts, and drip chicken went back to running Los Pollos Hermanos.
Mashallah.
After all that happened throughout the days, things were finally settling down. For many players, the newfound peace allowed for new stories to begin. But for us, it's a good place to end.
Wow. What a game Minecraft is, man. It's bloody wild. I'm always amazed by the coordination that players come up with when they have to do things like this. Especially with that middle island there, the fifth one that was introduced days later, where it was supposed to be contested grounds, but became like a place of unity for many to just be there and have some fun. That was amazing. Let's now understand a bit more why the genre of Civilization is so very popular, because we kind of need this stuff, right? It brings a certain warmth to one's heart. It's very enjoyable to watch. That being said, people, thank you so much once again for checking out this video. As always, make sure to go and subscribe to Ish, and of course, if you like this one, don't forget to do the same here and leave a like. That being said, see you guys in the next one. Perhaps we might be touching on some Rust. I know, I'm being mean, but come on. See you guys in the next one.